Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into some really heavy source material. We're looking at allegations of a massive, decades-long criminal conspiracy inside the New Zealand judicial system.
It's a huge claim. The core mission of these documents is to lay out a case that the Maori land courts were systematically disinheriting legitimate Maori landowners.
And what's so striking right from the top is how deliberate it all seems. The sources aren't claiming this was just, some bureaucratic mess up.
Not at all. They frame it as a calculated state-sanctioned practice of theft, and they point the finger directly at two key agents, Judge Robert Prishaw Dykes and his wife, Ruby Frances Victoria Bach.
Okay, let's unpack that, because that's a wild accusation. A judge and his spouse allegedly running a criminal enterprise from inside the court.
Right. The claim is that the Maori land courts gave Judge Dykes this mandate to consolidate land holdings, but not for everyone.
Only for certain select and compliant Maori factions.
Exactly. So he was providing the judicial cover, signing the orders. But the sources describe his wife, Mrs. Bach, as the shadow clerk. She was the one who allegedly handled the physical forgeries of the court records.
So it was a kind of domestic shield. It kept the whole operation incredibly insulated.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have worked without inside help from the outside, if that makes sense.
So you needed local knowledge.
Precisely. The sources alleged direct collusion with some of those favored Maori factions. They'd provide the necessary genealogical info to make the forgeries look legitimate.
And in return, they'd get a piece of the stolen property. It's a closed loop of fraud.
It is, and the playbook for how they did it is just as audacious.
This is the part about the holiday raids, right?
Yeah, they call them clandestine operations carried out when oversight was at a minimum. The sources single out one specific date, January 31st, 1947.
Just incredible, the sheer calculation of it, knowing that's when people are likely away or the bureaucracy is slow.
And that's when they'd allegedly pushed through the forged paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
The main example cited is the illegal disinheritance of the Papa WiniKerei lineage on that exact date.
And it was recorded in a forged court record, 30 Mercer MB 141.
That's the one.
Yeah.
By forging what's called a succession order, the legal document that transfers land to the heirs, they could essentially manufacture new owners out of thin air.
Right. And then there's this mechanism they use to hide it, something called geodetic displacement. It sounds like something from a spy novel.
It really does.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating weaponization of bureaucracy.
So how does filing a record 300 kilometers away make it legally invisible?
Well, the claim is they took the succession order for this land, which was in Mahia, and filed it at the Mercer Courthouse. That's hundreds of kilometers away. So if you were a true heir searching the local records where you're supposed to,
You'd never find it.
you'd never find it.
Mm.
The land would appear abandoned, and then it could be absorbed by the colluding parties.
And the sources suggest this wasn't just a one-off, it was a widespread practice.
They claim it was a system. They point to the huge property holdings of figures like Hawatahara Kiriona as being built directly on the back of this criminal enterprise.
So subsequent owners like the Fulton and Creswell families, and even the more recent Tatau Ote Wairoa Trust.
They're all holding assets that the source indictment calls the fruit of the poisonous tree.
Which is a legal term meaning
Yeah.
what exactly? That the titles aren't valid.
It means the entire chain of ownership is contaminated by the original crime. Legally, the sources argue, the current titles are voidable because they originate from theft.
And they claim the cover-up is still happening now.
Yes. They point to a 77-year delay in addressing the legal action by the true WiniKerei heirs. That's case CJ 2016-26. They see that delay as evidence that the modern system is still complicit.
Wow. So the argument is the system is still protecting itself over delivering justice?
That's the indictment in a nutshell. They're not just asking for corrections. They're demanding a full criminal investigation and for all titles derived from that 1947 fraud to be voided. It's a call for a fundamental reversal.
So when you step back, the claims here are just immense. They challenge the very foundation of some significant land ownership. It leaves you with a pretty provocative question.
It does. If a conspiracy this extensive to manipulate identity and land title could be run from inside the highest judicial authority, well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
What other foundational historical narratives, what other truths we take for granted might be resting on a similar foundation of fraudulent records? Something for you to mull over.